Okay, let's continue with the morphing. We already learned how to morph a text into another. Now we're going to look at how we can morph shapes into text. So let's get our text tool and write something else. Or just write morph. Okay, let's center it with our align tab. Get the align tab, center it. And now we're going to get our shape tool, and generally we want a shape that will cover the text entirely. So for our case, we can do a rectangle. Just make sure all the letters are covered. There we are. And now that we have our shape, we want to make sure the shape and the text are in the exact same location, making sure that your text is completely covered. And we're just going to do the same thing that we were doing in the previous two lessons, which is to convert the text layer into a shape layer. Like that, we can get rid of the text layer. Okay, so now we have each of the letters separated. This time we have one for each. If I write path here, we get, okay, we only have a few, okay. So now let's do the same thing with the shape. We're going to, first let's open up the path for the outlines. Come in a few frames forward, and we're going to turn on all of these guys to make a keyframe. All right. And then we have the shape, which we're also going to open up. First, let's convert this to Bezier. Right click, convert to Bezier path. Open up path 1, and we're just going to copy this path. Let's turn it on first, copy. You can close that. Hit U on morph outline so we get to see all of the keyframes, and then come in the beginning. Select all of these layers. Control V. So we have a shape morphing into this text. Let's turn this off. Okay, and now we have the same problem where the shape jumps. And that should be an easy fix. So all you have to do is to go on P and just look at the shape right now. Then align it to wherever you want. I'm going to do middle. Turn on the keyframe. Hit U so you can have a look. Control right arrow key so you get to see when you should move this back. So right here, you can see that it's moving that way. So first make a keyframe, bring that back, and then just move it to the center. We have the rulers, so it's going to help us a lot. Next keyframe, it's going to move in like that. Let's actually try to move the anchor point. Let's turn this off. Have a look at the shape. Control double click on this so it's in the middle. Let's remove this. Move it here, turn off the stopwatch. Now it's going to be less dramatic. Make another keyframe, control right arrow key, bring it back. Control right arrow key. Let's come to the end and just choose the end spot. Be here. So now it's going to be in the center, just like that. We have a thing with the colors. We could change the color. So let's delete shape 1. We don't need it anymore. Search for color. Or an easier thing is the fill effect here. So just search fill, add it onto your morph outlines. And we're going to choose the blue color for the first shape. Turn on the stopwatch. Hit U on this again so we see where it's slowly turning into the text here. And then over here we want to just maybe make it white. Okay, so now it's going to be blue. It's going to turn into white. You can see it has a nice little fading effect. Yeah, so that's how you do the thing. I should have made the rectangle a bit bigger. You can just do that again. Now we have morphed this shape into this text. As always, if you easy ease the keyframes, it's going to look better. So hit F9. And then we can go, let's have a look at the speed. We can either make this slower, so select all of the keyframes, including the color, and just like move it. Here, move this keyframe too. You can even speed up the kind of lengthen the gradient if you want. And then we have something like this. Let's also hit F9 on these. Hit N, have a look at our text. Okay, so we had a shape, we had it turned into this text, and you could even remove the color. Just turn off the FX to see it without the color, and it's just going to be like this. We can also go on this shape, add motion blur, which is these 3 circles. It's going to make it look smoother. So you see there's like a little bit of blurriness on each of the letters as they turn into each of the shape edges as it turns into the text. And we can just turn this on because I'm not happy with the blue. And there's our final product. So this could work with other shapes. It also works with the pen tool. So let's go ahead and try that with the pen tool. Delete this and let's write something else. We have the pen, bring the anchor point here. The Align tab will help us with that. Right click, create shapes from text. Delete the text. Now this is our text. Let's get the pen tool with a different color and just draw something that will cover the thing up. If we don't cover the text, the issue with the previous example will occur where like the top of the M is standing out. We don't want that, so make sure it's covering it completely. And we're just going to open this up. Now the thing with the pen tool is that you don't have to convert it to Bezier path. It's already there. Let's just search for path here. Search for path so you get to see all of these. Move in time, maybe 15 frames, and we're going to turn on all of these keyframes. Okay. Then we're going to move back, go to this path, select this, Control C, and we're going to select all of these, all of the paths, Control V. You can actually delete it. We're done with this. Delete the shape layer. Now we have this turning into this. We need to hit position again, and I'm just going to bring it to the center. You could also go with 2 keyframes. We made a bit too many keyframes in the last one. Motion blur, F9, play it back, and we have this. So it could be a shape, it could be a shape made from the pen tool, it could be another text. Now let's see how we can combine images to one another. Let's delete this one. In your project panel, we have some social media icons. Just open the layers. Let's put Twitter and Snapchat, merge them into one. Hit S, make them bigger, can't really see them. So we have 2 shape layers that look similar. We're going to select both, right click, create shapes from vector layers, delete the old ones. So we have 2 images that look kind of the same. So I'm going to bring Twitter first in the center of my composition, and we're going to turn Twitter into Snapchat. So morphing this Twitter logo into the Snapchat logo, you could do it vice versa. Let's hit type path. And we want to copy the path for Snapchat. Right path for Twitter. We can delete Snapchat. we're gonna turn on the stopwatch and then go in like 20 frames and paste it. So for this, it's easier because we don't have letters. It's just one singular image. Bring these closer, hit F9. And you can see it's turning into that. We could slow it down, it's a bit too quick. So we can see the morphing happening. You can see that Twitter turns into Snapchat. And we can add motion blur for a little bit of smoothness. There we are. Now the faster you make it, the more smooth it will look. We brought the keyframes in and now it looks better. Now Twitter, the logo is blue. Snapchat is white, so let's go ahead and add a fill effect on this Twitter outline. Not sure what blue we could go for. It's something like this. Okay. Turn on the stopwatch for color, hit U so we get to see this. It's going to be blue, and then when it reaches Snapchat, we're going to make it white. So it's slowly transitioning from blue to white. Always ease your keyframes. So like this. And now we have this. You can bring them in closer if you want it to stay blue for longer. I'm going to come in maybe around here is when I want it to change to white. So it's going to stay blue and then it's going to turn white. Just match the keyframes to one another. Okay, and I did want to show you guys another thing to decorate flat shapes like this. So we have Snapchat right now, and this is helpful for when you're illustrating and animating characters, but it's also pretty useful in motion design. So let's go ahead and duplicate this Snapchat icon. For the second one, let's go for gray, any color that you like to kind of shade this character. And on this new shading character, let's name it shade. Previous one, let's name it OG. For the shade character, click on it, get your pen tool, go on mask. Instead of this, go on mask, and I'm going to go with the pen tool. Just choose an area where you would want the mask to take place. So I'm going to do like a little curve and then end it here. Then close it off here. So we now have this much of the shading on our character. You can play around with it and make it perfect. Okay. Once you're done, we only want to go on hit M twice on shade. We want to feather out the edges. Just a little bit. Like that. Maybe 6 pixels. So this right now is a form of shading if you want to do like a 3D look. But another way, which is really popular nowadays, is to, after you've adjusted the feathering, the opacity, and all of that, hit toggle switches and modes, turn the mode of this layer to dissolve. Okay, so that's the shading, which we talked about. It will look better if your OG color, let's actually change the color of this, is a little bit darker than the thing. So just eyedrop the color and maybe bring down the brightness. So it's going to look a lot more blended in. You can always go back in, get the pen tool, and change the shape of the mask. Maybe do something like that. Anything that you want. Okay, so that's another shading method that you can do to kind of make your illustrations or animations better. This applies on anything that you want. It could also be pictures like we just made, or it could be shapes. So I'm going to get a circle, hold down shift to make a perfect circle, make this one maybe blue, duplicate my circle, and we're going to go on the ellipse tool again and hit this mask icon and just make a mask for the character. Like leave out a little moon shape on the edge, like that. And for this one, we want to, let's make the color that's forward. Change the color, so get the blue and maybe remove from the brightness, so 89 instead of 99. Okay, and we're just going to turn this, instead of add, turn it to subtract, so the dark side is there. You could do the opposite, and then just simply change the mode to dissolve. Go in mask and add some to the feathering. So you can see it looks really nice. It's a subtle, creative way to shade your shapes or images that we did. I will say that it works better with shapes compared to images, because when you create the shapes from that vector layer, it may not do a perfect job like it does in here. So just be careful. Go for the shape layers. And we have this subtle, if you zoom in, it's like little pixelated shadings. If you add or remove from the feathering, this is without the feathering. If you add too much feathering, you're barely going to see it. So keep it less than 100, like 50, 40, 60, and all that. You could go over 100, it depends on your shape. I'm going to go for 90. Okay, and that is how you morph and shade your shapes and text layers. This also applies to text. I'll quickly show you the text. Write something on the text thing. Place it in here. Duplicate the shade layer. This one's darker than the first one. Let's go back in here and make it 85 so it's more visible. Go on shade 2 and get a shape. A rectangle would be better in this case. And maybe we want to shade the, I'm going to get the pen tool and make like a triangle here. Something like that. And we want to hit M on the shade 2 twice and go to feather, add a good amount, like 85, then change the blending mode to dissolve. So now we have the same, click away, we have the same shading going on. You can see it's kind of pixelated, but it looks cool from afar. The pixelation is happening because of this dissolve mode that we added. If it was normal, it's going to like fade out. It will have a gradient effect, but with the dissolve, it's going to look like this. All right, so that's how you shade and morph things into one another. A quick and simple technique to kind of spice up your designs. And I'm going to see you guys in the next lesson where we learn about other types of motion graphics.